Okay, I just recorded this and it did not save, so take two. I've been making videos about mindfulness now on this channel for about 3 to 4 weeks, and I truly do believe in the power of mindfulness and the power of focusing the attention on the present moment to help to alleviate stress and anxiety in life. But I've been reading this book, and this is something that I'm kind of coming to a head at, called McMindfulness by Ronald Purser, and I recommend it to anyone who's interested in the Western expansion of Eastern philosophy, and namely Buddhism, into what we now know as kind of the mindfulness movement. Basically, in the book, Purser talks about how mindfulness and the movement itself has kind of been co-opted by the capitalist system that we live in as a way to sort of pacify the masses and to disincentivize us to fight for change in ways that would actually help us to alleviate the root causes of a lot of the stress. Something that happened when Buddhism came to the Western world is it was sterilized from a lot of the traditions, a lot of even the ethics that it was founded on, and this is kind of the piece of it that would help to, in some ways, propel us toward a world that would alleviate suffering for the masses, as opposed to it being something that is an individual practice that helps me to alleviate my stress and my anxiety to continue contributing to the economic system that we live in. And it's hard because I really do feel better when I meditate and when I pay attention and when I'm very intentional in my life. But you don't want to let it pacify you. And there are so many things in this world that are stressing us out that are outside of us. So an example from my own life, I was working a job and I really didn't feel like it was the right fit for my lifestyle. I didn't think my supervisor and I got along very well. We sort of had different opinions about certain things. And for me, the biggest change in my life came from quitting that position. I've continued to do a lot of new things that I could attribute my newfound pleasure and well-being to, but I think the single biggest thing was getting out of that position. And this speaks to the fact that sometimes it's not enough to be mindful and to pay attention to the breath and do all these things when the outside world is sort of the thing that is causing everything. So nowadays we have like so much going on in the world of politics, in the world of technology, AI, for instance, and we're also being sold media that is literally meant to capture our attention, keep us outraged, keep us anxious, and we wonder why we're in a system where we don't feel like we're happy and we feel like we're constantly stressed. And we're sold mindfulness, and even I feel like in some ways I'm at fault of this, selling people the idea that if you just focus your attention, if you just sort of are able to recognize the impermanence of everything, you'll feel better. And I think that's true, but it's also pacifying. And the point I'm trying to get at is we don't want to let this movement, we don't want to let mindfulness, and I don't think the people who started it had these intentions, but we don't want to let it be something that is used by the corporate world to help us continue to be more efficient cogs in the economic machine we're in. So the point I'm trying to make is be mindful, be very intentional, but don't lose your agency and allow yourself to be an agent for change in ways that will help alleviate suffering at a higher level than just your individual self. We're sold this idea that we have to be entrepreneurs of our own lives and our own well-being. And yes, it's great and you feel accomplished, but you also want to have a wider worldview and understand the ways in which systemic factors are what is causing so much suffering in the world. To keep this rambling short, I'm just going to mention one last thing. Thich Nhat Hanh, I really respect the place and the role he played in kind of the spread of Buddhism. And one of the things that he was really a big advocate of was ending the Vietnam War, something that created a lot of violence and suffering for people, and using Buddhist ideas not to say, okay, it's fine that we're in this war, but to really help people understand that this is not okay. And that's kind of the mentality I come into life with. Realize, yes, there are ways that we are inflicting more suffering upon ourselves, and then we can use that to create a better world for everyone around us and the future generations. So I leave that with you. I'm sorry this is a little bit of a tangential rant kind of video, but I think it's really important.